Friends, the talents of my next guest would be no stranger to our television screens. The orchestra plays the opening to Dancing with the Stars. The camera pans around to my next guest, music director, conductor, musician extraordinaire, Chong Lim, and he's online now. Nice to have you with us, Chong. How are you?
Not too bad. That was a very wonderful introduction. I've never heard that before.
Haven't you? Well, it's spot on. I mean to say, we turn on the television screens there, we see you. You're with John Farnham at other times. You're all around the place. I don't know how you do what you do. You're such a busy man at the moment. You're travelling with Rolling Thunder Vietnam, another great production. How did it all start for you? Because you really trained in engineering, didn't you?
Yeah, I was I was born in Malaysia, and I came out, when I was in my late teens. I spent 1 year at Geelong College in Geelong, and then I was at Melbourne Uni and was studying mechanical engineering. And I actually finished my degree and worked for a while, and went back to Malaysia, worked for a while, came back to Australia to do a master's and a PhD. And halfway through that, I thought, I think I better be a musician because that's really what I want to do. And here I am today.
Well, you got that taste of it, I suppose, at university, didn't you? Because you were jamming and playing around with other guys there at that stage, weren't you?
That's correct. Yeah, I was. I was very lucky to meet the wonderful David Hobson. Who's a very
fabulous,
very established tenor, and we started a band together. And also, one thing led to another. It's a very small scene, the music scene, and I ended up in bands. And I think my first gig was actually with Jane Clifton. Not that she remembers; she probably didn't remember because I was pretty bad, and and that's how I started, and I learned on the job,
And one of those early gigs was with James Valentine, I think.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, James was David Hobson's best friend.
Yes.
And they were all from Ballarat, and so we just had a band, like a university kind of band, and our first gig was supporting the Angels at the Melbourne Town Hall. And that's how it all kind of began, really.
I've got down here the Vanetta Field Gospel Band you're involved with. You've toured with the Eurogliders, Jermaine Jackson, and, of course, being musical director to John Farnham. I'm going to say, what has he got with you? You're such a muso there and able to direct this man in such a great way.
Well, yeah, I was, very lucky to join his band when he was looking for, when the great David Hirschfelder left, and they were looking for someone else, and I got the job, and again, one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was his musical director. But it's been a wonderful ride. I've been with him for over 25 years, and it's been a wonderful ride, and he's been a great artist to work with. Myself and the band always say, we still kind of blink our eyes and go, how did we land on this huge stage, at Rod Laver Arena behind this incredible singer,
Absolutely beautiful. And, of course, as time went on, the Logie Awards, you've been involved with Kylie Minogue's tour, the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games here in Melbourne back in 2006, and you were involved in Dirty Dancing recently. It just goes on and on and on, plus the Sydney Olympics, of course, and coming back further to home this time, you're back with the Victorian State School Spectacular, and that's in its 21st year. You haven't been there quite 21 years, but a heck of a long time.
Yeah, no, I think this is actually my fifth or sixth year.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, and this is actually one of my proudest gigs, because it's actually really giving back to the kids, getting prepared, besides getting them ready for this wonderful show at Hisense Arena, it's just really preparing them for the professional world if that's what they want to do. Otherwise, it's also helping them understand what goes into making a good concert, and a lot of them are they're fantastic and they're ready to to be professionals, and some of them will be great professionals. And of course, very well documented this year on The Voice, we had Adam Liddell, who was with us a couple of years ago, and previous to that, young Harrison Craig actually won The Voice. They were all from our spectacular, So it's just really wonderful to see the enthusiasm of the kids and the sacrifices they make. They're literally at the school spec headquarters in Collingwood every other weekend, rehearsing, and it's a really big orchestra, and we have a lot of professionals teaching them. But, it's just great to see them want to do something rather than play Pokemon Go or,
Exactly
they're actually
right.
doing music. It's really wonderful to see them develop.
Chong, it must be a difficult job that you've got. I mean, to say you've got to arrange, conduct, and get all these kids ready. Where on earth do you start with this?
It's a big process. I mean, there's a big group, there's a team of people. I have an associate, a musical director who helps me prepare the orchestra. I've got a range of arrangers to help myself, though I do the bulk of it. And then there are a whole heap of tutors. There'll be like a string tutor to look after, the strings. There'll be a woodwind, teacher to look after the flutes and the clarinets. And there'll be, so every section of the orchestra has like a well-established professional, people who actually play in the Sound of Music and, Matilda and all that. They are the tutors, so they
Yes.
get professional guidance every other week. It's great. It's a free training ground for the kids. You couldn't, imagining anything better. But also, of course, it caters to a lot of, high school kids who have got no facilities in their school to study music.
Yes.
You have kids from, all the way out to, Bendigo, Ballarat, and we once had someone from Albury, training in on the weekends to do the
Wow.
rehearsals and training back, because
That's
they have
dedication.
nothing in their schools. Yeah. And it's a testament to all the successive, state governments we've had that they've supported this, and therefore it enables kids who want to do music to actually have a program for them. So it's really, I'm really proud of this project. It's really
Well, the
wonderful.
spectacular usually gets to television too, and we do see that on our screens at home. And sitting there watching this even last year and the year before, the orchestra itself just sounds brilliant. You know sometimes how you get a trumpet is a little bit off pitch and, a trombone and so on. That doesn't happen. The work you do, you've blended beautifully, and it sounds so professional. Those kids are great.
Well, look, I'm going to have to pass it on to the kids, because they'll feel proud, because they really do spend a lot. It's through the year. I think it's from about March, or we start rehearsing them till August, and they come every other weekend. And they start off shaky, but yeah, they end up being really good. And as you say, it's always in the brass that you hear things that are out of tune. But they got very dedicated tutors next to them.
Yeah.
And they get trained. With having an objective at the end of the rehearsal period. They have something to look forward to, but they have some very difficult, charts to play. Anything from kind of today's pop songs to a incredibly difficult big band chart called Whiplash, which is from the movie Whiplash. If you haven't
Yes,
seen it,
yes, I've seen
it's
that.
a very complicated chart to Peter Pan, the film score. So they run through the gamut of the music styles, and you can hear them getting better and better. And of course, we always remind the kids, they are the elite of Victoria. It's almost
That's
like
right.
having, the Victorian, state school football team. They are the best there is, but they have an outlet to practice, whereas in their schools, they might not have that facility. So it's really great. I really love doing this.
Chong, how do you go as an arranger now? You've given a piece of music, obviously. You've got to write your arrangement for umpteen instruments, violins and cellos and so on, and brass. How do you go about setting all of that up? It must take you forever.
Well, it's called practice. The more you do, the faster and better you become. And always still learning. But yeah, I think the first thing you have to do is you construct what the drums are going to do. You start from the base. It's like building a house.
Right, you go from
you start with the
drums.
foundation.
Yep.
Put the walls, put the windows, put the paintwork on, which is really the lovely stuff that you hear.
Yep.
But the basics need to be done. But it's like anything. Once you learn how to do it, you get better. But the only thing with music is you also have to try to be creative. To make things sound really wonderful and exciting and sad if it needs to be sad, romantic when it needs to be romantic. Look, it's just a lot of fun, to arrange. Or sometimes, you look at the piece of paper or these days a computer screen and it's a blank mind. So, go out for a walk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, refresh. Yeah, refresh.
That's right.
And I often watch the, Dancing with the Stars there and seeing what you're doing there and think, gee, you've got a 90-second grab there for these dancers. And sometimes singers as well. You've got to arrange all of that for the band you've got playing with you. Well done. I just admire your work enormously.
Oh, thank you. No, that's a huge task, that one, because it's literally over 20 songs a week. You really get 5 days to get it ready.
Huge turnaround.
It's a huge turnaround, and it's live to air. There's no delay or it's not a pre-record. It's truly live. So the pressure is great. But after having done 15 seasons, it's actually I call that the school of pop music that doing that show. That's the university. I've become a way better musician since doing that show. It's been 10 years. I've been in 15 seasons, and within a 10-year period, it's been a baptism by fire. But I'm still there, hanging in by my fingernails.
Well, I think it's coming back next year from memory. We've got the Olympics on this year, but I think you're back on air next year, aren't you?
Well, I don't really know when we're coming back, but I normally get the call a month before and go, Chong, what are you doing? Okay, well, you're on. So I just await the call.
Goodness.
Yeah. Oh. So I just await the call.
Well,
like everybody else.
You'll get that call very soon, I'm sure. Chong, we're going to see you and, of course, all the kids at the Victorian State School Spectacular. Now in its 21st year, and it's coming up in September. Folks, do keep that in mind and go along and support these kids. And under the direction of this marvellous man, a great conductor, a wonderful muso. Chong, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you giving it up. You're very, very busy heading up there to North with this wonderful production you're doing too with Rolling Thunder Vietnam. You take care, pal, and we'll see you at the Spectacular.
Thanks very much, Lee. And actually, by the way, I've just landed in the Gold Coast and I was just walking to my hotel room when you called. So there you go. That's the life of a musician.
We did it well. Okay, good on you, mate. You take care, please.
Thanks for your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bye-bye to you.